Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now, this afternoon I have uncovered a bit of a relic from my teenage years. We've been going through a cupboard in our second bedroom, and this stuff really is a bit of a relic, and that is essentially hints and tips and cheats and codes which I gathered together when I was in that sort of N64 GameCube kind of phase. And what I found so interesting about this is it really highlights something about, I think, which is still true actually, about computer games and computer gaming culture. And that is that there's always been this desire to get more from the game, and sometimes that means unlocking an unknown feature. So for example, in Rogue Squadron on the N64, they shipped the game with code for the Naboo starfighter, but you couldn't unlock it until they gave out the code. And basically, this was a bit of a secret, and it was released when Star Wars Episode 1 was officially released. It was like an Easter egg which paid off later on. So sometimes it added value to the game, and in other cases it just gave you that edge to sort of get beyond a certain point. Maybe defeat a boss that you couldn't get past, or maybe it gave you an alternative costume or whatever. The sort of stuff which maybe these days would be included in a DLC package back in the day was basically in hints and tips and cheats, this kind of thing. And the reason why I say relic is because, well, today we have the luxury, lots of us do at least, if we're lucky, and that of having smartphones or having iPads or screens which we can Google, bring up a code or a cheat or a hint, and have that with us. So we don't have to do what I had to do, and that is print most of this stuff out. And so here I have this sort of collection of carefully, curated and collected tips and hints for computer games. So for example here, Mortal Kombat 4 on the N64. We have 8 pages of hints and tips for the N64 game Perfect Dark. For example, invincibility, war mode, infinite ammunition, cloak / invisibility, play as Elvis. You could basically look it up and print it off. And at the time, that was so incredibly exciting to be able to use the internet to find this information. You'd also trade these sort of things in school. You'd take in your printout and you'd maybe make a note of what other people had found. And actually, that's exactly what my brother did in this book here. So for example here, he's covered it in stickers, this book. Here he's got codes and sort of hints for Streets of Rage. So for example, just as you're about to die, pick up Controller 2 and press start. You'll be able to continue with all of Player 2's lives and continues. Now it's not strictly speaking continuing, is it? It's starting with another character. Sonic 2 hints and tips. We had let's see, Toy Story, EA Hockey, which was a pretty good game back in the day. Lion King, So my brother was collecting these things off other people and their printouts, and then we were also, when we finally got a home computer and a printer, we started to collect them for ourselves. Ready to Rumble boxing on the N64, excellent. Taunts that you can learn. Hints and tips for playing Resident Evil 2. 5 pages are printed out of that. Let's see, play as Tofu, which is a wonderful unlockable in the game. It's a little bit water damage, but that's probably because I was eating and drinking while I was playing Resident Evil 2. Let's see, hints and tips for for is that Super Mario? Yeah, Mario 64. Hints and tips for that. Mario 64 secrets. For example, meeting Yoshi. We all know how to do that now because of the internet. But back in the day, we had to look it up, then print it off, and then go to the N64. We couldn't just Google it on our phones. Doom 64. Hints and tips. Humour after death. After you die, notice you will fall, but the screen won't go blood red until you press a button. If you wait and don't press anything, the message will pop up. Messages at the top so will get quite interesting. Okay. ... Interesting. More Mario 64 secret courses. 1 of 2, but actually I've got a huge selection of. Sorry, you can't see this stuff. A huge number of pages stapled together there. What's actually in there? Wet dry. Oh no, it's all just all Mario 64 stuff. Okay, cool. clearly we were cheating when it came to Mario 64, and that's the thing as well. It sort of felt a bit naughty, you know, gathering this stuff together. It wasn't just a case of doing better. It was a case of getting round the game, getting round the programmers, bending the rules. And here we photocopied a whole load of hints and tips and things for GoldenEye from the official N64 magazine. So this must have been a friend's copy, and we've taken it to the photocopier. And so there you go, level 19 Aztec. Taken it to the photocopier and got ourselves some hints to try out that night at home. Body Harvest on the N64. That's another 2 pages. Let's see. No, more than 2. But again, we seem to get sort of 2 pages from one article and then more pages from another. But again, all to do with... Oh, and there we go. Here was some more handwritten hints and tips and cheats and codes and things. It's just so much fun to think that actually, at the time, you had to sort of study. You know, you were curating curating your gaming life through these sort of printouts. F-Zero-X on the N64, Star Wars Rogue Squadron N64, and actually in here, did we have the let's see, Game Shark codes, bonus levels, enable Naboo Fighter from episode 1. Enter password Halifax ? Then select enter code and type in !YNGWIE ! Select enter code again to enable Naboo Starfighter. Isn't that cool? And then on the back, looks like I've been doing some sketches of something. It's clearly I would print on anything. What's that for? 1080 snowboarding hints and tips. And it's this sort of stuff which, you know, like I said, we kept this stuff in a drawer as our own little library of ways to get ahead in the game. Hidden races in episode 1. That's quite cool. Episode 1 Pod Racer. That is. Locations of Big Pose in Ocarina of Time. But I think what's most amazing actually is the fact that at the time this was the way you had to do it. You had to print it out. S-Cars. This is a game which it took a lot of effort to love it. More hints and tips for GoldenEye in the N64. What's this? NBA Jam. Giant players, tiny players, long range dunks, make the shot, stronger pushes. All sorts of other bits and bobs for that game there. This was a website which I visited a heck of a lot when I was in high school, and that was zeldasystem.com. Here got 8 pages of the Skulltula locations, which, you know, if you were a completionist, you had to get all the Skulltulas. That is useful. That's good shit. Good shit. And there we go, yeah, so, interesting, what's this? I've got this sort of double spread thing. More photocopies of N64 magazine. This time it's Ridge Racer 64 hints, tips and cheats. Let's see, what have we got? Is she on there? Ridge Racer girl? Where is she? There she is. I always thought she looked very happy. So it was a subculture, and like I say, almost always felt a little bit naughty. The other thing which I also printed out and sort of curated, really for my own benefit, for my own enjoyment, was the Resident Evil timeline at that point. So I printed this out. Is there a date on here? Would have been the early 2000s anyway, probably year 2000. Printed this out anyway then, and this I actually had in a folder up until very, very recently, until I had to use that folder for work. But if you wanted to keep this, there were no publications. These days there's I think the Resident Evil Chronicles, I think, is a book you can get which sort of lays this stuff out, and obviously there are websites. But if computers were new to you and they were just about coming into your house, and that was certainly the case for me, I wanted to have the Resident Evil timeline, and so I printed off this thing to look at home. So here we have 6 pages of timeline, and then let's see, part 1. Oh, an alternative timeline, another sort of like another way of sort of laying out the timeline. This one from Resident Evil Story. And so yeah, there was also a way of actually adding to the narrative of the games by printing off, you know, the timelines and the background and this kind of thing. And it was just part of what you did. Another thing that we would do, and that everyone was doing at the time, was with computer game magazines, they were picking up these, and that's free hints and tips books. And also you have on the back Cheats Unlimited, sort of, you know, numbers that you could call. So here we have hints and tips for Super Mario Sunshine. We have 1027, no more no less, hints and tips for the GameCube. We have Your Most Wanted Cheats, 5,098 in total, including Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. 5,872 tips in this one. And again, on the back you always have the numbers to call. Probably premium rate. Actually, I have to say I've never called them myself. Top 10 games of 2000, hints and tips there. Let's see. The World Is Not Enough and WF No Mercy. Both good games. Actually, The World Is Not Enough is slightly underrated, I think. Definitely. It's pretty good. Turok Dinosaur Hunter, the Essential Player's Guide. Again, came free with Nintendo Magazine, you see. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Not the best Final Fantasy game, but I very much enjoyed it when I had it. I might have to get that again, actually, at some point. Majora's Mask, hints and tips. That's a funny looking David Beckham, isn't it? Yeah, on the front of that. Your Most Wanted Cheats again, 5,073 in total. Your Most Wanted Cheats, 5,812, including Pokemon Colosseum, which was a game which I very much was looking forward to when it came in. Nintendo's revolutionary new system, the DS, Your Essential Handbook. That came with NGC, the GameCube magazine. And Cheats and Tips A to Z. You're brand new and fully updated. There you go. And this is, I think, focusing certainly most of it, or part of it, on Smash Brothers at the time. And and also A to Z of hints and tips linked to the GameCube. All of that stuff, as well, was part of this whole culture of getting ahead in life in computer games. And of course, also there were books printed as well. Certainly for the slightly older consoles. So this one is for the Sega Mega Drive, and it's part of a series edited by Ian Livingston, apparently. And I think we've only got one or two of these, or I've only got one or two of these, but they're pretty cool actually. The hottest beat 'em up action comes to the Sega Mega Drive in the form of Streets of Rage. There you go. See, not the best print quality, and also slightly I don't know. It's not a good ratio on that particular game cover. It's been stretched out of shape. Also, look at that pixelation on that thing there. But it was useful, and again, all part of that culture. Now, I suppose, how can I possibly end this video? I would like to end this video by asking, what is your most remembered and most loved game code? And what computer game was it for? Obviously, I've got a whole stack of things here, and I suppose if I have to think of one, the one which I probably first learned and have just remember off by heart is up, down, left, right, and then A and start at the same time, and that is a code for Sonic the Hedgehog. Hopefully some of you knew that already. It was the level select on Sonic the Hedgehog in the Mega Drive. Up, down, left, right, A and start at the same time. And you could skip ahead in the game to any level you wanted. What's your favourite though? I'd love to hear some obscure codes and hints and tips. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it was cheating? Do you think it was just part of the culture? I think it was just part of the culture, because, like I say, we'd trade this stuff back and forward. We wouldn't rely on DLC. we'd print it off, we'd curate it, we'd look after it, and then we'd become sort of little gods of our own realms, either, you know, to our friends by sort of saying, yeah, I can help you out, or just, you know, in the game we'd be like, oh yeah, damn right, I can be invincible, I can be God in this game. It was great, and that's just the way we had to do it back then, and I'm amazed I've still got this stuff. Anyway, guys, I've been rambling on about this for long enough. I'll let you go, but do let me know, what's your favourite code? What's your favourite hint or tip? Just put it down below. Maybe you'll blow someone's mind with a hint. But yeah, definitely up, down, left, right, A start, level select, Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just burned into my memory. I suppose there's also the Konami code as well. That's quite famous. But yeah, anyway, what do you reckon? As ever, until next time, guys, do take care. Bye bye.